So
Tshidi
before you start,
Yeah.
before you start, you introduce yourself and what you do.
And Tshidi
Yes.
My name is Tshidi Chabane-Xaba. I am the Chief Operating Officer with the Smile Foundation.
Can you please give us an overview of what's happening today?
So today we are having a media day of the Smile Week. So a Smile Week is 5 days where children are being operated on. And children that are being operated on are children with cleft lip, cleft palate, or any children that needs assistance or needs surgery with facial reanimation or facial reconstruction, right? Let me call it that. And the doctors then book all these children that would normally come to the clinics with needing help, needing surgery, but you find that there's a backlog with the hospital, because then they would cater for emergency cases, and then they then clamp them together and book them for a week, whereby then Smile comes in to help and sponsor for the surgeries to happen. What Smile does would then bring in extra nursing staff, would bring food for mummies, would support the mummies with transport. They come from all places like Tshidi Chabane-Xaba, and we help them with transport to get to the hospital. We also give them backpacks, and you will see some of the backpacks that has toiletries for the mommy. So you can imagine, as a mommy, you are rushing to come to the hospital, you forget a toothbrush, so we help them with those. And then the kiddies have a blanket, a toy, a coloring book, and color pens. We also help with the consumables, so we buy a lot of consumables for the hospitals to bridge in the gap whereby there's budget cuts in the public health. We all know that. And then Smile Foundation comes in with the donors that we have, such as Verkmen. So this Smile Week is sponsored by Verkmen, and they are supporting us to buy the consumables like the sutures, ET tubes. It's things that doctors need in theater to make sure that the surgeries happen.
So I want to know, how do you prioritize the kids that are being operated in this hospital?
So the doctors do that, and when you speak to Dr. Nikita, she will explain this nicely. So what happens is that the babies are born with a cleft lip, bilateral, and then a palate. A cleft lip, you see it as the child is born because the mouth is open, right? The palate, sometimes they only pick it up when the child is supposed to start speaking. Then the child has a speech impairment. Then they go to the clinic, and the clinic takes them to a speech therapist, and then eventually somebody says to the baby, open your mouth, and then they see the gap on the palate. They're like, oh, and then they send them to the academic hospital where there are plastic surgeons. So when they come here, there is a plastic surgery clinic that the child will attend. They will see the plastic surgeon, like Dr. Nikita, and then Dr. Nikita will say, then we will then tells the mom that we will then arrange an operation day for the child, because they need to close that gap so that the child is able to speak. Otherwise, if this child is not assisted in that way with surgery, they will always speak so their speech doesn't come out properly. So you end up thinking that the child has a disability, and it's just the palate. And the child ends up going to a school with disabilities, of which maybe the child could go to a mainstream schooling.
So with all the events that has happened previously, what cases can you tell us that were successful in some of the children that the hospital has operated?
Many cases are successful. So there is one child that's coming back today that was here last October, and they had closed. So she's about 9 years old. So the palate is now hard. So they had to do multiple surgeries to close the palate, because they picked it up later, like I said. So they closed the one part, and today they're going to close another part. So after this, the surgery will be complete. And that is a success, because then the child will go to speech therapy, which we have as well. They will attend a speech therapist that Smile Foundation provides, and then they'll be referred to a local one where they are closer to their home. And then they give them a program at home that the mommy can help them to start doing the exercises uses all the speech therapy home things, and then the child will be able to speak, and then the child can go into mainstream schooling. But also we have immediate results. You will see with the kids that have a bilateral cleft lip, it's open, you see it, you see the teeth, they close it. So when the child comes out of their surgery, their mouth is closed. They look like you and me, they just have a small scar.
I just want to ask, so how long have these kids who will be operated been waiting? How long have they been waiting for the stage to be operated?
Sure, yeah. They differ with their ages. We have the small babies that have obviously were born maybe 6 months, 8 months ago, so they've waited for that long. Then we have the 9-year-old who's waited because the early diagnosis didn't happen. It took a long time for them to be diagnosed, and then they diagnosed now, and then so our waiting periods are really do differ. We do have because we are helping kids from Lesotho, Botshabelo, some kids are from Northwest, some are from the Northern Cape, where the provinces do not have enough plastic surgeons. They bring them here, and so we have a backlog in that way. And this week we are helping 23 children that are going to be operated this week and get assistance. And some of the children that, so some children do come, and then you find that the child gets sick, they get flu, they won't be able to go and get operated. Then they give them a next date, and we are trying to move into what we call a 1-day surgery, which is a slate. We have not started it here at universities, but the hospital management has given us a go-ahead to say we can have those 1 day whereby we are catching up with all these kids that were sick, and then they're no longer sick, so we'll be able to operate them going forward.
Okay, just as we wrap up, with the 23 kids that are being operated today, what are your hopes for them, and what are your messages for the Smile Foundation and all the partnerships that are involved?
So my message to the kids and the moms is that we are grateful for the moms for trusting the hospital, for trusting public health. A lot of people don't. They've lost their hope sometimes in the public health. But we try to come in and partner with the public health because we want to bring back hope. We want people to have hope in the public health. There are good specialists in the public health. So we thank them for trusting us with their kids' lives. We thank them for being patient with, only having this date. You can imagine a child that's been coming here for years. They're only having a date in 2026. But we are really grateful that they've been patient. But and then to our donors, fragments, we are really grateful, and we need more donors. So if people are interested in donating, they must visit Smile Foundation South Africa.org and see how they can support Smile Foundation, so we can support the kids. The children are the future of South Africa. After us, it's them. So we need to hand over the baton to children that look normal, are not bullied, do not have a disadvantage.